I was introduced to the chapel when I started dating this guy who just said, well, why don't you come to church with me on Sunday? Well, I was a Catholic, and so I thought, okay, how early of a service do you have? Because I have to go to your church, and then I'm going to beat it across town to go to my church. And so that's what we did. I had never been to a non-denominational church. I thought I was walking into some place where there were going to be snakes and everybody was talking and laughing. And, I saw no reverence at all. So it was really kind of a scary place for me. Sat down and was engaged by the music and by the pastor. And I just can remember crying. I don't even remember what he was saying, but it was something that was just different than what I had grown up hearing. And yet it was something that I wanted to hear, something that I had hoped for. And I thought, okay, I am just covered in tears. I'll never be invited by this guy to do anything ever again. And then he asked me again, would you like to go to church? Never mentioned that I was a broken soul. And I think that lasted for about a year. He just kept inviting me. And Donald kept preaching. And it took several layers, several Sundays. And every Sunday, I would find a little scrap of paper. I can't even tell you what I wrote. But I had to connect with this man. And I just would write some truth that I had heard, that I had never heard before. And I'd run up. I had it folded real tight so nobody else could read it. And I slipped it in his hand. And he was always so gracious. I think he was beginning to wait for me. And it was special to know that, he just didn't even know my name at that point. But then this guy who had asked me to marry him, the same guy who invited me to the chapel, asked me to marry him. And so as soon as he asked me, I said, I've got to call the chapel and see what dates are available because I want Donald to marry us. Now that was huge because, like I said earlier, I was Catholic and I had slowly becoming the black sheep of the family at that point. Donald married us. Tried to be fast about this. He dedicated our babies. And then several years ago, I asked him to baptize me because a little girl had asked me to baptize her. And I had never been baptized as a believer, only as a baby. And I thought it would just be more appropriate, set better with me and the Lord, I thought, if I was baptized. So Donald baptized me. And then we stood together and baptized Macy. And in between, he and Mary were there for me when my parents died, when my brother died. Mary gave Claire a tea party when she was just a little thing, gave her a little purse, substituted at Dunham, and taught my children. And so I want to tell the Tabb family what a wonderful day it was today to celebrate their family and Donald's life and the Lord Jesus, because everybody could have stood there and told a story. I wanted to be up there to tell my story. So this was wonderful to be able to do it today. And to know, I want to thank the Tabb family for sharing their dad, because that had to have been hard, especially if all those phone calls in the middle of the night that they were talking about. But to God be the glory that it's this great ripple effect. And I'm going to do my part to continue sharing the gospel boldly. Thank you so much.